Hey everybody, what is going on? Dace here, and today this is the expert mode guide for Rolling Gunner, not the DLC or anything like that, just the original game. So something I want to mention is I recorded this footage, I'm not even sure, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and things have just been really busy, and I've had certain parts of the run like finished, or like the commentary finished and all that, but later sections were kind of just sitting, and I would chip away at it when I could and all that, but I think for the last handful of stages, like the last few stages, I didn't do anything in terms of like slow motion stuff or like super specific breakdowns explaining everything. I certainly do that for like the first 3 and especially stage 3, because that's like the stage I put the most work into and one of the craziest levels. But that being said, like the final stages, you will still have like a solid idea as to why I'm doing things and all that kind of stuff. But like for the final boss, for instance, it's like there are some silly hits taken and stuff like that, but for the most part, you will just like have a walkthrough of like what happens, what I do, things to keep in mind, and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm trusting this helps if you are aiming to tackle expert mode, or you just want a few ideas, or maybe even implement some ideas for like original mode if that's what you're currently chipping away at, or whatever else. But I figured, you know what, I might as well just, instead of fiddling with the last couple stages, I might as well just play the videos, record the commentary, and just get this wrapped up instead of it being like weeks and weeks longer. So yeah, it is a segmented run, of course. The whole point is just to have a rough idea as to what to do, so it's not like I was going for like a perfect run, like recording one legitimate run or anything like that, because that's not necessary for a guide. The important thing is just like the method and the approach and all that. So anyway, I trust this helps you out if you're jumping in, and yeah, enjoy. In stage 1, you're not really going to be dealing with any heavy demands in terms of position and timing and stuff like that, so just learn where the enemies are coming and speed kill them as quickly as you want to. Of course, I like to keep my weapon unlocked for specific swarms of enemies, so a section like after these 3 green dudes, I will keep it open while aiming it upwards, but of course if there's a trajectory that I need to be out of the way of, I will lock my position, move, like just tap dodge, and then unlock again. So for this, I get nice and close, trigger right about there, and then back up, trigger right about there, and then you're pretty much never going to take a hit. Like there are just big gaps between those big pink shots, and then I just angle upward to deal with that, get rid of those 2 guys, and then go down to get rid of that wave, and then angle for that wave. And then of course you can just like dodge that, since it's all like, yeah, pretty simple stuff. You can always back up with the attack, of course, too, if you need help with that. So for this, I just back straight up like that, and then forward again, and then I will move up a little bit like that, just to stay there, and then trigger right around there. Just get in between those. And then I trigger right around here, too, just so that this attack here isn't going like so crazy. And then you just gotta like learn how to kind of manipulate the targeting of that, so you do have easy windows to work through. And then I usually go as long as I can. You make sure you don't want to kill the dude too quickly. Like that's, or at least that's how I do, because I want to push rank as high as I can in stage 1. And then right when your thing is about to run out, boom. And we're sitting at like 9. So normally I finish at 9 or 10 or whatever rank that is, finish stage 1. And I think I show an alternate. I don't do this for like every part of the game, but for stage 1 specifically, I think I show if you don't want to hyper, how to go about the boss, which is coming up in just a second. So here we are. This is the halfway boss. So I lure that stuff up there, go down and around, and then you just avoid this attack It's not as crazy as it looks once you just kind of know what's going on and that kind of stuff. So that one's toast. And then you do, and then here we are for the final boss, or of the stage, that is. So there will be a crucial point in which you want to work your way forward, which is like right now you want to like get up here and then angle down just to avoid all that mess that he's spraying out, and then just watch out for that attack. And so things will be more or less the same. The only thing is like you got to be really careful. If that attack starts, you just kind of like tap dodge up or down or whatever. And then of course survive this without taking a hit if you're not going to bomb or hyper. And it does get pretty cramped, so you got to be really, really careful. And there's stage 1. So stage 2, there's definitely a little more to it. And I'll show, again, like the halfway boss, I think I'd show alternate takes. I recorded this weeks ago, this footage. I'm just now doing the commentary for it, so I'm pretty sure I do that, though. It might be like tacked on the end or something, we'll see. But for just keeping things consistent, I bombed during the stage end boss of stage 2, during the last attack, because it is really nasty. And that's only like if you are pushing rank like I do, because that final attack is just going so fast. I can make it through without bombing, but it's not consistent, and I haven't really focused on making it consistent yet, so that's when I use my first bomb. So yeah, just like, again, know where the clouds are coming, or the like swarms of enemies, and just speed kill the medium-sized ships and tanks and things like that. And then just get ready for, yeah, just the different waves and who comes out when, where. Know what to angle towards. Not that you have to stick to like my angling and positions and stuff like that, but this is just to give you an idea of what's coming where. So for this is just tapping, simple tapping. And then I think I hyper right about there. And then again right about there, just to finish off that last little bit. And then just watch out for those guys, because they come behind really quickly, and then there are 2 of those things that you gotta really watch for. And then 1, 2 red, and then a swarm. So I just angle like that and back away, and then up and down. And then when you see the red guys, you know the red tank is going to be showing up soon, so you just start backing away from that while you kill it. Those 2 guys. Get right down there, go up, and then get right in the middle here for that guy, whip back, get that guy gone, then that guy, and then I dip down to get those 3 little red ships, and then just stay on the tank, and then drop down super quick because we got this second big red tank. This can be a pretty hectic time when you're not used to the flow of the stage. And then this can also sometimes trip you up, but as you can see, I'm kind of just like, yeah, weaseling my way around, and then grab that bomb, and then you can just stay right there to get rid of those 2 dudes. And then 3 more red guys at the front, starting from the bottom up. Okay, so I don't recall if I slow motioned this part. I don't think I did, so I'm gonna see how it goes, keeping up with everything. But it's pretty straightforward. You let this attack come out, and then right when that's about to hit, you just drop down to about there, and then just tap up like 3 or 4 times, just so you're there like that. And then I trigger there, and then back away a little bit after soaking up some gold, and then just tap dodge down and away a little bit. So I do like down, down, back sort of thing, and then trigger there. Get close, but not too close. You want to be about here when this attack starts. You wait for 3 of the bursts, and then you start tapping down. You can wait for 2 if you're cutting it close or whatever, but just make sure you're not flailing around. And then trigger again, and you can just bomb like right there just to finish him up. And then we'll get to the alternate take and then jump into stage 3. The alternate for just the halfway boss, that is. I think stage 3 is almost entirely in slow motion because it's just like, there's just so much to it. It's crazy. It's the stage I put the most time into, and I'm super, super proud of it. But anyway, we'll do this halfway boss. So if you're not, so if you have rank at 0 still, this is how you can go about it. You can just do it like this. You can dodge one, let the other pass, dodge one, let the other pass. And then 1, 2, 5 of these bursts total. It's not always going to come out the same way, so just be mindful of that. And then for this, same with the original guide I did. There are about like 5 shots in a row, and then it does slightly adjust, so you do need to keep a very close eye on that. And then boom, it's done. So yeah, for stage 3, if stages 1 and 2 were easy for you, stage 3 is most likely going to be when you just hit a wall. Like it's crazy what this level throws your way. So let's get into it. The first thing, just get used to the pockets of enemies that show up. Prioritize speed killing medium ships as quickly as possible, and just work your way around the clouds of bullets and stuff like this. And then I just kind of like angle down here like that, and then I work my way up because we want to be in line for the 3 ships, like those dudes that drop. Coming up for this part right here, you don't have to bounce around like I do. I just do that because I want to leave my fire unlocked. But if you want a safer time, you can just like locks aiming straight up and then just gradually tap forward. And again, you don't have to hyper here at all. I just do it because I have a blast hypering and just pushing rank. So I hyper there, and then I take out the first 3 things before you even really see them. And then right around there, I will trigger my next phase of that just to clean up the gun pods. Again, you don't have to hyper at all. The gun pods are easy enough to deal with as long as you're not like flailing all over the place. And then we have this big swarm here, so I just go up and down and around, just luring shots all over the place. Well, not all over the place, but just like away, like whatever. And then you want to be up here when the cloud is done, because we got that wave right there, and then we got this wave coming here, and we want to lure those shots right off the screen. So I drop down and then up a little bit to create a window, which is right there, so we can go through that. And then you just keep tapping up, but keep your fire on the gun pods as much as possible. Take those guys out, drop down through there, make sure that bottom green one is out, otherwise he's going to create some major issues, and then just clean up right there like that. So for the first of the 2 halfway bosses, we just do this whole like down up thing. For the 4th and final of these bursts that he's doing, you might need to back up like that just to clear it like I do, unless you're using the blue ship, which is faster. So here I wait for the 3rd sound of the attack, and then I trigger, get nice and close, back away the moment you see this huge burst coming out to about there, stop there, and then wait for this pink shot right there. That's when I trigger the next phase. They get not super close, but close enough just to make sure you take that out and time things right so that you can get a full recharge right there or close to it. And then you just have some green ships to deal with here. And then I position myself here. You can keep it locked on or let go like I do here. I just do that to push score and whatever. And then I aim up and then trigger just to take this guy out, and then get up super quick and just start laying close range damage and then back away until he's toast. You want to wait for the last possible second to activate it again, but you don't want to miss pressing it. So right about there, and then we go behind, up, get rid of that line of dudes coming, and then start taking out those gun pods, drop down and around. This part coming up here, when you want to fill up from 0, I leave it unlocked, and then I lock, tap forward, unlock, and repeat that process. It's a great way to move around and then get the bottom guys gone first, and then the top guys, and then you just aim straight up 1, 2, and then start backing away The nice thing about the red ship is you can just move back, and that's the normal speed, and you'll take all of those guys at the top out without any issues. So for here, and all of that was just to ensure that like you have a full gauge for this part coming up. So it starts off the same. 1, 2, 3. I let go to fly up because that last attack is pretty dangerous. But then I lock on for this angled, and then I make it straight like that, straight up, and then right about here, hyper, I go up into the cloud because you have invincibility for a few moments, and then you just start backing up a little bit. You really want to capitalize on the space and timing for this. You don't want to start dropping too early, and then I trigger right about there just to cancel out that threat. And then we just move up to the safe spot. If you got to let go to get there faster, then just do that. But there we go. And then go down, soak up that stuff. Watch out for these guys. And then we got 3 green ships coming. So 1, 2, 3, and then another wave coming. So I just angle right away. And then you position yourself right over here. More or less wait for most of their attacks to show up, and then you go forward, and then you come up to this safe area and just start backing up with the attack, and then up through there like that. And then we take out this guy pretty much the same way, except right now we just wait a little longer, and then boom, we do that. He's gone. Flail around just to clear those dudes, and then I trigger about there, take out that big purple ship, and the second one that comes into position right there. And then I get rid of the first, like I'll usually take out like about 3 of those things that you don't even see yet. You don't want to take too many because you want to be able to recharge soon, and then you got to watch out for these upper and lower waves. So that's why I did the whole angle route. And then you just clean up like that, and then you get a bomb here. Alright, so for the stage 3 boss, there's quite a bit to this guy. This fight is a whole other story if you're not used to it. But same sort of thing, up, down, get nice and close. If you're not a full gauge at this point, you have plenty of time to just rack that up quick, and then get to about there. And then wait for that attack to come out, start backing up. And then just tap dodge. You might not see it because it is in slow motion, but we're just moving normal speed, and then I let go just to fly forward, otherwise you will get clipped, and then trigger right about there. Position here, tap down to clear all those shots coming at you, and then start backing up. And then up and forward, and then trigger right about there. You gotta really watch his health. I stop firing because I want to time it so that, again, you get a full recharge or close to it. So at this point he's going to have one attack. Just lure it up like that so it doesn't cause any issues, and then position yourself right about here. I've really come to enjoy doing it this way, which we'll see soon. So we go up like this, and so this is how I always do it now, and then trigger right about there, drop straight down to about there, and then just keep moving up, go up through there. It's okay if you're not constantly damaging him, but you don't actually want that, because what can happen often is he'll go all the way back to the back of the screen, and then you don't have space to go up and around him, like we'll see here. So going to the top like I did earlier is actually more beneficial. I'm not sure like the science behind that or what, but that's just what works. And then you just have all sorts of time to just like angle and tap away instead of flooding the screen by flailing all over the place prematurely. And then you can just like straighten out your shot and just go up like this, and then trigger right around there. You'll get more and more used to like just the timing and that kind of stuff, and when you can afford to do things and when you don't want to. Sometimes if I have slightly miscalculated, I will just go down and angle upwards, because then you can go under him if you just need like a little more time to get that damage in. Then that works too. So yeah, I could not tell you how many hours and days and whatever I put into figuring out the stage and fine-tuning it and just getting to a place where like it was consistent, even though like I ended up, like in the time I cleared expert mode, I ended up using I think like a bomb or two, which is like unheard of because that never happens. Like this is, for me, this route that we just went through is like consistent, like what I pull off like 99% of the time. But sometimes you'll still fumble stuff here and there, so like I wouldn't worry about it, but that's like what I put together for that stage. For stage 4, this is in slow motion just to start off. So I always go down like that, and then I jump up like this, get rid of those guys, and then I trigger my next phase of the hyper, and then I drop straight down to clear out the wave of dudes coming, and then I back up because we start having these tanks show up at the bottom, and then up there at the top as well. But that's generally speaking what I just am really comfortable with. That doing that maneuver works like a charm for me, and I really like it. So, and then you just take care of those guys and then get ready for this tank right here. And of course the reason we had the hyper like that is because of how we finished stage 3. That's just like the consistent for me anyway. And then we just deal with that big turret and then drop for those tanks, clear those little dudes, and then get ready for these 2. And then we'll have another 2 red guys coming right about there. And then you get rid of the turret. You gotta get used to like the positioning of like luring the turret's shot on a certain angle so that you have that pocket of space at the top, but otherwise you can just go in between the shots like that. And then we have these 3 guys, and then you gotta get ready to drop down since that wave comes, and then you just kind of creep up the edge like that, and then you're tucked in behind, and then there isn't too much left to dodge, and then you just take those 3 dudes out and then get rid of these 1, 2, 3, 4 things on the railing, or the rail, and then those dudes, and then 4 more, and then this wave and that guy. So I go on an angle like that, and that way you're already in position to take out those green dudes, and then another 4 of these things. And now this is where I use my hyper. Generally in that spot, it doesn't have to be super precise, and then you just inch forward like that. And then I hit the second portion of my hyper right about there. And then I like to open up like that so that you got the nice big metals coming in, and then you bomb, or at least this is how I currently am doing it, just for consistency. Just to ensure that I have a decent amount of metals, because you pretty much want to have a full gauge ready for this fight that we're about to do. So I stay right about there, drop down. You don't have to move for the second attack, drop down. Don't have to move for this attack, and for the 5th, you just drop down and back up a little bit. Tuck yourself under like that. Avoid that, and then back it right up, and then just up, over. And then I lure the shots just slightly, and then go back up again like this. That way there's just that spot. And then activate again. And then just dodge that last little bit. And then just, yeah. There are other ways you can do this. That's just how I did it for this time. And that edit jump is just because I think I fumbled something later on in the stage, so. And then you take out those red guys and then get ready for this. So I activate about there, activate the moment it's ready, and then that way it finishes up really quickly and you have time to just get more metals, because you're going to really want to like soak up metals here and just have gauges ready constantly instead of being in the hyper state the whole time, which you can do too, but I just find like I like making use of the bullet cancels and stuff for this part specifically because it can be a pretty nasty stretch. And then you just back up. Again, we have another hyper ready to go, so activate it. And the moment you can actually hold off if like for this part, because like you can just soak up a little or do a little more damage and then activate it. But there we are again, we have a full gauge all ready. And then we got tanks coming down from there, so you'll see me angling a little bit, but keeping most of the damage on that dude in front of us until he's gone. So there are different ways you can do this too. This is just how I'm doing it this time. But we have another one of these big ships, so like same thing, just activate right here. And then when it's done, just soak up as much of the gold as possible before going into this fight. And then I just, when I'm dropping down, because I want to soak up, I am doing that whole thing where I switch from locked on mode to unlocked, like every second. Just so that I can like soak up a little more instead of just constantly holding the lock on and only getting like the bare minimum. But you still have time during this first attack to get more gold, so it's not like it's a big deal if you're not at 1,000 because you have plenty of time here during these first 3 attacks. Like here's the 3rd one. And then you just back up, go between those. So I showed 2 different versions of this fight. I think the second is like with less bombs used, just so you can get a bit of a feel for how things go. But that's sometimes, like generally speaking, that's where I will bomb if I haven't already, because it can be a pretty hectic part of the fight. And then that attack there can take a lot of getting used to, but yeah. And this too, like this is one where you will probably want to bomb through it or whatever you have available, because it is pretty nasty at times. I always want to finish this fight with 1 bomb left. That's the ideal anyway, because that's kind of like what the next stage, like the route for the next stage, that's hinged on having a bomb for the mid-boss. So you kind of just like back up, get used to the positions and how these things move and where to go and all that. But yeah, that's stage 4. And then for the alternate, I don't recall, like, I recorded this probably, I'm not even sure, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, who knows. So I'm just getting around to recording like bits and pieces of the project when I can at this point. So I don't recall exactly what I do differently in this take, but we'll soon find out, and it will probably prove useful. So, but for the most part, like it's the same approach every step of the way. It's great being able to bypass most of that last attack. I think one of the differences was like not needing to bomb for that last little... Or actually no, I don't think I did, but I'm not sure. But either way, I'm pretty sure we shave off 1 bomb use here, if I'm not mistaken. Just because of kind of like how... Like as long as you can kind of hang on a little bit longer for whatever attack you're currently about to bomb for, then usually that translates to making it to this attack pattern where like you pretty much won't need to bomb, as long as you have your hyper ready, of course, because you can use both activations and that should be enough to get you through. So yeah, the only difference here is like we have 1 extra bomb, which is like just fantastic. But I think the key thing is to just keep in mind like when you can push further into an attack before bombing. That is like super helpful for this boss fight specifically. But anyway, that is stage 4. Okay, we're mid-hyper, so we go like this, up like that, get rid of those green guys, and then drop down and then up for the rest of that wave, and then take out the green dudes. And then activate right about there, and then I do it again right about there just to finish that guy off. And yeah, since we finished the last stage mid-hyper, that's just how this one usually opens up. So yeah, anyway, then we just work our way around like this until that wave is down, and then I take out this line of blue guys. And then you don't do the same. You take out like the first one or two or whatever, but then you activate and deal with those three guys with like your angled shot. And then you back up with this attack. You can activate again just to finish it off. And then you will have all that stuff to soak up, and then this whole wave of dudes too. And of course, you want a full gauge for the part coming up based on just the route I put together in particular, for just how this goes. And of course we want the one bomb as an absolute must to ensure we don't take a hit on the way to getting to the boss. But yeah, as you can see, I activate at those specific times, and just always pay attention to like the angles that I'm doing, like firing and stuff. That's where we use the bomb. Get nice and close for point blank. And then drop down with the last bit of iframes you have, and then just inch forward like this and lure those that way, and then just start working your way back to right about there. And then I stop, and then start firing again. And stay right in that general middle area. You kind of just got to get used to it, but if you are in a specific zone, like a middle area back there before it starts attacking, you're good to just sit there and not get hit at all. If you do get hit, it's because you either moved or you need to just do a bit better of a job figuring out where that spot is. But it's not like a precise spot, so you don't have to worry about it. It's just a general location that you can rely on 100% of the time. But you do got to like figure it out a little bit. And then I stay like that, just up and down for those waves, and then I drop back like this, angle back like that to get rid of those blue ships, and then you can just hold lock on firing straight up if you want to do that. I just, of course, want to get more metal goodness. And then angle like that. And then you just tuck yourself in, angle, and then just start working your way up. This is, of course, I'm locked on the whole time on this angle, because it is a pretty precarious situation. So yeah, grab the bomb. So right here, you trigger right the moment it's about to hit, and then the moment it's ready, you do that second activation, and this way it runs out in time to have a full gauge, which you absolutely want going into this fight. And I'll explain why when we get there. Okay, so the moment you see your damage happening on the boss, that's when you activate it, and then the moment it is ready, you don't want to be too close because then it fills up too quickly, but the moment it's ready, you press it again, and boom, you have a full gauge again. And that is crucial for making it through. This attack is easy. You're just tap dodging very, very slowly and carefully. But you want a full gauge for this next thing. I haven't figured out a way to really like do this. Like I have ideas and stuff, but I just haven't put much together. And but yeah, that's how we make it through that. And then of course we have this. This can be a really nasty attack at times. If you're gonna bomb your first time, it's fine to do it there because it can get really cramped and it's not worth taking a hit. So you just stay like that, and then I just stay up like that, and then I trigger right about there, and then use your iframes to kind of like clear out some of the stuff. And of course, like always just pay attention to when I'm activating like the next level of my hyper. And then I just work my way around like this. This will take some practice and getting used to, but it's a great way to just like kind of clean up and get that gauge full again, which of course you're going to want. Cool. So that's that. One thing I will say, like, obviously you see that I have more bombs, and that's just because I think I loaded up just like a whatever and forgot to adjust that, but that would have been, in terms of keeping things like legit, that would have been the bomb you picked up before the boss fight. So just pretend like those last 2 bombs we have there aren't actually there. So that's just to show you like how you would go about it. But anyway, that is stage 5. There are plenty of ways to do stage 6 opening, but this tap dodging down is the way I like it. So keep the damage on the purple guy until he's gone, and then you just angle straight up and then just drop down like that. Just little taps to get rid of those tanks, and then aim up again for those 2. Watch out for the little green tanks that are at the bottom there, and then just take this dude out, and then you hyper there, take out those 3 blue ones, move up, finish off that turret, and then get down nice and close for that one. Take that out, aim back super quick, and then angle as you're dragging your ship back, and then activate right there to finish off that tank. Get that wave from behind, and then just clean up with the last of your hyper for this part right here. And then keep it open so that you get big metals coming down, so that you can get like as many, or you can charge as much as possible. And then you're gonna want to like leave things open as much as possible here, like your shot, that is, because you want a full gauge for this boss, this mid boss. So activate right at the second ring when it hits you, or just like look to see what I do, and then of course like just finish off like that, and boom, we have another full gauge. You don't have to do it like this if you don't want to. This is just how I like doing it. And then actually, yeah, what I'm doing more and more, I didn't the first number of times, but I can see that I did it here too, is like I'm angling. But the first few times I was starting to experiment with that. I was not angling anywhere. I was just holding it up to play it safe. But yeah, so anyway, we go in like this and then activate right about there. Stay nice and close. Just down like that. And then when things get a little too cramped, that you activate again, just to finish off that little bit and soak up, and boom, full gauge. Amazing. Like, I cannot tell you how glorious it is just be able to have a full gauge when something gets toasted, because Expert is really insane, and every time you can possibly have something at the ready to use to just like either save yourself, or because it's part of like the established route, it's just so helpful. So yeah, as you can see, I'm activating at specific points, and then for here we're just angling, and then just tap dodge back. If you need to charge because you're too far away from a full gauge, then you would just tap with your thing open, like not locked on or anything, and then angle like that, and then jump straight up like that. Activate, drop down, back up, activate, finish that off, and then just go up or down to clear all of that stuff. You don't have to go through it or anything. And then just 1, 2, 3, 4. Either up or down to tap, or tap your way through that, and then just sit tight here. So because I've been in this, actually no, I'll share that after. Let's just focus on this. So there, again, there was like another edit jump. I think I messed something up, but this is like my consistent route. So we just go like that, angle back, go forward to clear that blue attack, and then drop down like this. I'm not going straight into the corner like I originally was when I first came up with this approach, because it was a little risky, so I give myself a little distance from those dudes that come. But then we go like that, activate right there, drop down, get rid of that big laser, drop down, and head on up, destroy the 2 blue ships, and then angle down like this. And then the moment, boom, activate, the moment that blue guy shows up, then deal with that guy, angle up again, and then start just yeah, tapping forward a little bit, get rid of that thing before things get crazy, and then angle back like that, because you're going to want to have a full gauge and activate like pretty much right away, just to get that thing out of there. And then you just kind of like sit and do as much cleanup with this activation as you can. But of course, activate it if you're going to take a hit. Like that's just what, like, this whole section here is just crazy. And then you can go like that. I'm not sure why I went up like that, but that's just how it went. This is still like a section I haven't worked on, and it's not like I'm playing much or figuring out much in Rolling Gunner these days because I'm kind of just focused on other stuff, so I'm taking a little bit of a rest, but that's usually the point in which I bomb. And then you just bomb if you need to. We're like almost at the end. Actually, yesterday was the first day that I didn't play Rolling Gunner in this whole span of months since I started casual mode and then original mode and then expert mode, which was like I'm not sure, like two months and 4 days or something. So, but yeah, like I think at this point I just genuinely feel like it's time to just give myself a bit of a rest and just recharge a bit and just, yeah, establish what I want to do. But yeah, anyway, like always like just pay close attention to the specific points in which trigger like I'm triggering the hypers, because that's just such an important part. But you really got to budget when, where, and how much gold soaking up you're doing. I think at this point too, because like I said already in the other stage, it's been like some weeks since I recorded this, so it's not like I'm at this point gonna put tons of time into like, yeah, attempting to remember like everything that was going on. But I think we just dropped down for, yeah, we just dropped down into this final fight. But yeah, like the fumbles there are kind of just like, I'm not going for like a perfect play or anything like that for this guide video. It's segmented anyway, so it's more or less to give you general ideas as to how to approach things. So for this opening attack, I just stay near the bottom like that and just back up with it and activate when you need to. That time I experimented with activating and then immediately using a bomb, just so that, wow, we have a full gauge again, which is a really useful trick. And then bomb your way through if you need to. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, took a hit there. I think at this point in the recording, I was like, well, you know what? Again, like I don't need to make it through this without fumbles, because like I think I just more or less want to like get the video like just the segments recorded, so I wasn't going to be too picky with myself for this project. As long as we kind of like just demonstrate what to do and how things go. So yeah, I stay at the bottom and back up with this. Again, if you need to hyper or bomb, just do it. Having a hyper or a bomb for that attack is definitely helpful, because it's a pretty nasty one. And then we're at this part where you just kind of like got to dance around with all this stuff. I don't have like a designated method for that yet, like a memorized scientific breakdown. But as you can see, like this last section of the guide is just kind of like me slapping it together instead of like going for perfection. And there we go. Not to mention, like, even like in the past, I've practiced this boss to the point where I will usually only lose like a single life. So like even when you do get it to that point, like there's so much going on in the fight that sometimes you will just fumble, so it's not like you really want to rely on thinking you'll make it through unscathed every single time, unless you really put the time in, which I haven't done that to like gain any sort of consistency. But yeah, after a rest period, we'll see what I tackle. I think the TLB would be fantastic, but that's certainly like another big project for down the road. But anyway, that's that. I trust this has been a helpful guide. And yeah, I really appreciate everybody checking this out, and all the best with your runs if you are tackling expert mode. And yeah, have an awesome one, and we'll see you next time.